Hello, Jackie.
I love a podcast that starts with the engineer going, I wonder what this button does.
This is some low rent shit here. I'm doing it just for fun. Obviously, we got up to 2 million, and then I said something about Hunter Biden, which I didn't know, and then I said something about Biden, the president, and so it went from 200 to 177,000. They erased those, so I got erased twice. And then they did say, "Oh, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't break any community standards, but your listeners are gone, your viewers are gone," and it kind of took the wind out of my sails. Although we are, I don't know. Anyway, so here we are.
It's all in fun. I do a podcast called Stand Up Memories with my friend of 43 years of stand up, Peter Bales, and we are really on our way to the moon. I think this week we might crack 1,000. So. You're not preaching to the choir here. If you got anybody listening, you're lucky that our engineer doesn't even pay attention, so.
Yeah, I got a kid that's doing it out of the kindness of his heart. He's a fan of the show, and I am supposed to do this every Monday night, and I do it sometimes once a month, sometimes once every 2 months. And again, once you get to 2 million, and then you keep getting your nuts cut off, it gets.
Yeah, it breaks your heart.
It breaks your heart, and the people from Rumble told me, you do it every day at the same time, you're going to get a huge audience. You're going to make a lot of money. And
you had to have said, been there, done that. It's been 22 years since I've had to get up at 4:30 in the morning. And there isn't a morning I don't look over at the alarm clock and say, fuck you. You know what I mean? I'm just, been there, done that,
Jackie the Joke Man was a big part of another show. I don't say his name. Jackie, I'm going to tell you something. And you can call bullshit anytime you want. You can say whatever you want.
If I wasn't supposed to make any reference like that, nobody gave. No, Ralph didn't tell me anything.
No, I'm telling you. You can say whatever you want to do, whatever you want. That's the point. But I want to tell you, and you're old. Is he your boss?
Who? No,
I don't want to say the devil's name.
No, but not.
But he said I grew up. He said I grew up in New York, and I listened to him, and obviously I stole everything from him. And brother, I'm telling you, and it's a different world now. But I never heard the guy. I never listened to him. I still haven't seen the movie.
Listen, we could sit in the back room and tell stories all day. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
The amount of bullshit that everybody has caught each other in, and I'm not talking about you. I'm just. One of the things I really wanted to talk to you about, just to quickly, not clear the air, but when they sometimes on television, like a show on CBS, they'll put up a card that says, what you'll see in the show is not necessarily representative of the viewpoints of this station. And when he used to start in with you about your father and that, I just didn't know how to tell somebody. I write all the funny things he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm not writing that crap. And I, that was places where I would never go. And I just wanted to let you know in case I don't even know if we've ever spoken. I know.
Well, we have many years ago. There was some talk of me hiring you. Whatever.
That was Bob Eatman, right? Eatman.
No, it was Eatman. And Eatman also represented Opie and Anthony and represented Adam Carolla.
He was a big time guy. Anthony wanted me to do a show on his network in the very beginning when he was out on Long Island. And I was so excited. I did a test show and I just couldn't have enjoyed myself more. And then Eatman handed me a quarter-inch thick contract. And at the time, I wasn't going to go spend $5,000 on a lawyer to read the contract. Let me tell you, I hadn't put out my book yet. And I was so scared that I'm going to tell stories on the show. And then I'm going to try and put out a book, and they're going to say, no, we own those stories. So I just said, Anthony's a good friend. I said, but no. Thanks, but no thanks, Well, and not to kick a man while he's down, but I think Bob Eatman is dead.
He's dead. He is dead. He was my agent for many years. And we wanted to get Stern, I'll just say it, Stern and Opie and Anthony and everybody together. We were all being attacked, and it was a free speech attack. And Oprah was doing worse stuff than any of us. And the Latino stations and Mexican stations in Chicago were doing worse, saying the F word in Spanish. Nobody on the FCC spoke Spanish. Well, let me hear me out here. And I got everybody together, Opie and Anthony and all these other people. And one of those guys. Hey, you like to suck up? Hey, and all this homophobic, racist, just stupid shit. Like, guys, if we get together, we can fight this. This is and this censorship we're still feeling, Jackie.
No, it was crazy. When I left the show, it had gotten really, really berserk. Like it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Saying stuff that you say on the playground. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, and the stuff I've heard, and again, I've never heard Stern in my life. I mean, I've heard his voice. Oh, no, I'm not going to listen. And the reason is because he talked about raping my father's corpse and the brutal stuff to my father, who was just a simple kitchen cabinet maker and seller in Kansas City, Missouri. So Suicide Falls, Missouri. So it was just brutal. And, it was bad on my parents and my mom when and you've apologized.
Well, they went on and they did all the same, whatever phrases and activities that they were going to have with my dead cat, which, and you got a wife at home that, it's like if her child died, hey, there's got to be better subjects than this. I just wanted to make sure you knew that I wasn't in on that.
No, and there was another guy, Gary,
he's a good guy. Yeah,
who reached out to me and they said, look, we were on this stupid show and, or great show, whatever you thought, it doesn't matter. But that we can't get behind. And it really, I don't know if it was you or someone else, but there was people inside that group that they went, man, this is the heart of America. This is Chicago. They're talking about some guy's father dying and we're having a party. This is going to fail. And it did. He never beat me. Are you part of this Vice documentary? Yes.
Is that where I know they came around and there were two different shows where they sat. It was, just a one-on-one camera.
Yeah, with a lady.
The dark side of the 90s or the dark side.
Yeah. So
they just talked to me, but they were nice to me. They paid me good and sent a car. Most of these things I do don't even wind up on the air,
Yeah,
so
I think this one's going to end up in June, Dark Side of the 90s. And the woman is looking at me, and they got the Interrotron, which is a great camera, right? The Interrotron where you can see her on the camera.
You know what? It was so long ago I don't even remember. But I just talk, and you know what? My whole theory is the old Mark Twain. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. People ask me about when I left the show, and I'll say something, and they'll say, "But that's what you said 20 years ago." I'll be, well, yeah. Because that's what happened. You know what I mean? So that's what I just basically stick to. But I haven't heard from them. I'm glad to hear that's still alive. That's good.
It is going to be on, and she called me and apologized because, like you, Jackie, I don't give a shit anymore. And by the way, your old boss, hiding inside for 3 or 4 years, whatever it was, terrified, wishing anyone that didn't get the medicine to die. All of this, I left my house. My daughter isn't a stripper. I'm living a great life, and I really do feel like I won in many, many ways. You
know what? The secret is not to win. The secret is to not even consider that there's a game going on, and you live your life, and you live. Well,
that's what I've done. But I think that's I like it.
But you do have the edge of competitiveness, or else you wouldn't be doing this in the first place. So
yeah. I have no edge at all anymore because I really got offered an incredible gig. You don't want to hear this shit, but I just couldn't. I can't. It's gone. Whatever that was, it got me up at 2:30 in the morning. It's not there.
That fire. I think back about what I did in the 90s when I got up at 4:30 and did the show, and then we did the television show on Channel 9, and then I would go to a gig, and I was hosting the Rascals Comedy Hour, so I had a different monologue every week. I was recording shows. I was editing CDs. I did more in one day in the 90s than I've done since I left the show. I don't know where that fire came from because it ain't in there anymore.
I always felt like, and again didn't hear your show, but I heard I felt like we did 5 shows in one show. We ran circles on everybody. I thought Dahl was just the worst shit I ever heard. The pauses. That show I did hear because it was across the hall. Kevin Matthews, who's become a dear friend of mine. These are Chicago shows. But, him doing, hey, crazy guy. Hey, what's up? Hey, Jim, how are you? Hey, you butt nut. I mean.
That guy, I was in Chicago.
I love him. I love him. He's a dear friend of mine. But I never got it. He knows I never got it. I never got these guys. The Phil Henrys that talk to themselves. I don't get it.
I was in Chicago doing a show at the Chicago Theater, the famous Chicago Theater.
Yes.
And they tried to book me with Steve Dahl, to promote it. And he said, "No, I've had Jackie on here and we never really hit it off." I never met the guy in my life. I'm like, why would somebody make up something like that? He might be your friend, but
no. Steve Dahl is a talentless, puffed up piece of blowfish shit and always has been. And his one thing, he's even said, I don't even remember it. I think he was so whatever. He doesn't even remember it. It was some PR stunt involving disco records. And he didn't have anything to do with it. They just put him there. And, it was a gig. And, but boy, he's ridden that thing. I thought Gary Meyer on his show was great.
He was crazy successful as far as I know, though, right? Dahl?
It was over by the time I came here. I got here in 94, and it was over. He was on the AM station and had no listeners. So since 94,
I've been around so long, I'm embarrassed how many different.
And Brandmeier in 1994, his act of acting like Huey Lewis was long in the tooth. So they were really grooming Kevin to be the next big thing. I came along. They wanted me to play 8 songs an hour, Larry Wurton, Jimmy DeCastro. And, we're all friends now. But anyway. I
had not heard that name, Jonathan Brandmeier, probably in 2 decades. And
you wouldn't have heard it in Chicago because nobody cares. I got to get
it. One. Now I'm you. One question at a time. Relax.
No, this is me. It's the.
Yeah, all right. I love Chicago.
I'm hyperactive.
I was working at Zanies before I was I think I was working maybe one day a week at Howard, but I used to headline at Zanies on Wells Street. And now, do you know Larry?
Rick. Do you know Rick?
Uncle Larry. Rick was a very good friend.
Rick Geezer ran it. I love Rick. Rick and I are still close. Uncle Lair is.
I'm talking about the original owner, Rick.
Well, I knew him too.
Yeah,
right there by Topo GGO, and
he told me that when he had that place, it was a like a rub and tug place, and he kept getting busted and had to jump out the back window, so he changed it into a X-rated bookstore, and the girls were still taking the guys in the back, and they'd have to jump out the window. So he said, "What the hell?" And he made it into a comedy club. But I forget what his name was. But if you stayed, me and Larry Reeb used to stay upstairs. And upstairs from Zanies, the walls are red velvet. You know that you're really in a whorehouse when you're there. It was the greatest, Oh, my God.
The comedy, you're talking about the comedy condo. And,
I'm talking about the actual club.
Oh, I know. I just remember in one of those rooms where they would put the comedians, I just thought, wow, Gilbert Godfrey whacked off in this bed.
Well,
and Jimmy Schubert was like, "Oh, let's go over. I want to go over some comedians because I had them all on my show and you knew them all." Is Schubert? I mean, just your take on him, Jimmy Schubert.
No, I don't. Is he one of the guys that traveled with Sam?
Yes, and I have long forgotten that because I think he's very funny. And by the way, my Sam Kinison, the Sam Kinison shows I saw were horrible, and I thought he was great. I was a big fan.
It was a flip.
He was horrible live.
One time he came on in the morning and he invited me on the show, and I was on the show with him and Schubert and Carl and Alan Stevens. So it was four of us before Sam. And then, it was a great show. And this is a famous show at Westbury Music Fair. And during the break between shows, he was popping, drinking, eating, everything. And then the 4 of us went out one after the other. By the time Sam got on, I've never seen anybody, I don't mean to speak ill of the dead because, it's no secret he liked to get high, but he couldn't even speak. He's walking around in circles. That was a famous show where 80% of people left and they had to refund the money. But a classic story in retelling, but I didn't get to know. Schubert's like a redhead, right?
Yeah, Schubert Schubert has one of the great bits of all time, and that is, and I had him on my show, that is having sex with Lori and Dory. Lori and Dory.
Oh, we had them on a Channel 9 show. Connected at the head?
Oh! And he says, do you, he's on a date with her. Does he have to buy the midget that's hanging off of her head? Does he have to buy her an appetizer at the Fridays? What do you do? It is hysterical.
I got to tell you, had the Channel 9 show. I was like the head writer, but I also helped produce. And we found out about these Siamese twins, or conjoined twins.
Yeah.
And you would not believe their resume. It said they were on a bowling team and that they went on date, but all the stuff was so absurd. And the day of the show, they showed up, and
it's heartbreaking.
Dan Foreman came over to me and said, "Jackie, I need a judgment call. I need a judgment call. They're up in the office. We can't put them on. It's a tune-out. It's a tune-out. I need a judgment call." I said, "All right." So I go upstairs. I figure I'm going to go in the office and appraise the situation. So like an idiot, I walk in, and the one is standing there, and the other one was on a stool that spun around because she was half the size, and they're connected at the head. And I literally, Mancow, I swear to you, I walked into the office, kind of taking a look at them and going, "Where did I leave my pencil? Damn, where did I leave my pencil?"
Wow.
And then I walked out, and on my way down the hall, I said, "These girls have spent their entire lives with people coming into the room saying, 'Where did I put my pencil?' Because everybody wants to sneak a look." I felt like such a twat, and we couldn't put them on the air. It was as uncomfortable as anything I've ever seen in my life.
They came to my show. One was leaning forward, and the other one was through the hole in the taxi cab, sitting in the front seat, and we had to carefully pull her through the hole. I'm not kidding. That was really a horrific deal, and my heart does go out to him. But Jimmy Schubert, talking about dating him, I thought emo. I think they died, but I don't think they died that long ago. I think they only died like 5 years. Lori and Dory, dead or alive? Look it up. My research team is on it. Jackie the Joke Man. All right, let's talk. Did you think Emo Phillips was great? Another Chicago comedian that I'm almost alone in. Nobody loves him like me.
Oh no, I loved Emo.
Okay, what about Tenuta, who we just lost? Judy Tenuta.
Judy Tenuta were like kind of an item when they
they were.
They came by us, you know. And she was another wacko. She was great,
She was great. God, these were great Chicago comedians.
Emo from another planet, though. Emo was from another planet.
The French existentialist pigeon. Pourquoi? Wild. Okay, who else? Let's go. Who was Dane Cook is now over, but he was on my show early on and cried because someone teased him. Cried.
Now, when did he hit? Because I think I was off the Stern show by the time he hit. But I know that with all the Foldy roll, I don't listen to the radio. I never listened to radio before I was on it. I didn't listen to it when I was on it. And I don't watch comics or listen to comics. It's so funny. People ask me about music. The last CD I bought was Chicago 2, and I don't think they were even CDs yet. And they say, "Well, what do you think of the new comedians?" And I say, "Well, I really like Chris Rock." I'm an old timer. But you hear about this guy, and I went and bought the Dane Cook CD, or somebody gave me one, and I listened to it, and I said, I must be really old because I really just don't get it. There was nothing.
Wow.
And that's so hard because it's comedians' jealousy. I mean, the guy's selling out stadiums.
Here, let me see that. So Lori and Dory are still alive, it says. They're the longest they were, so they got to be dead. They were the oldest conjoined twins in the world. They died in 20, in 22, yes, you think? No, I think they're alive. No, I think they're still alive. There they are.
I was pretty sure I saw that they had died. But that's amazing, Okay,
let's get rid of whatever that is, Ralph.
Eek and Geek. Remember the two Chinese guys that literally with the sign.
Chang and Ang.
Chang and Ang.
By the way, there's a great book about them. They were very successful, made a lot of money, and ended up marrying two hotties and had a lot of kids. And I don't know how that works when you're, I
don't either, but they got a billion offspring. Like they're.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and they were very successful, man. Very successful. Like a lot of Chinese people come over here. Okay. So,
I'm not going to say they were well connected.
Can you tell me one comedian though that you were there in that night and he killed?
The night what?
You were there. So and so killed the night they burned Minsky's. You were there the night Richard Pryor did something. You were there.
No,
No?
I watched Sam destroy. I've watched Pat Cooper destroy.
Oh my God. Is he alive? Is Pat Cooper alive?
That's such a long story, but yeah, he's like 94. And, people say, who was your favorite guest? And me and Fred got the biggest kick out of him because he was so unpredictable and he sounded so angry and crazy. And he would look over at us and he would wink. He was having a good time. He would wink, but people thought he was going to go berserk. But I was never in the audience for any super duper, Robin Williams swinging from the chandelier. I was working.
Yeah,
I was Saturday Night Live. I was a musician. Saturday nights in the 70s. If I wasn't playing on a Saturday night, I might as well sell my guitar.
I was there the night I was there one night they wheeled out Richard Pryor. I did see Dice kill a few times. I have seen. I have seen kill too. Did you like Dice? A lot of comedians hated Dice. Did you like him or hate him?
Me and Dice were on Red Fox video together in 1985, which he says he thinks is what actually gave him the biggest push, the biggest launch.
I saw your Rodney bobble.
Red Fox's dirty.
I saw your Rodney big head. Were you friendly with Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah, that was a whole craziness. It's a whole long story. I want to send you a copy of my book because you might really get a kick out of it. But I wrote to Rodney cold, and he called me up, and I wound up selling him the best joke he ever had. And we were
What was it?
The two-bagger.
Well, tell it.
The girl that's so ugly, she's known as a two-bagger. She's so ugly, you not only got to put a bag over her head, you got to put a bag over your own head in case her bag rips.
Well, now wait a minute. Jackie, I've said that joke 100 times.
It's been around forever, but it's a question of the right joke. I mean, I gave it to in 1980.
Did you write it?
Nope, it's an old Southern expression from forever. But that's comedy writing, putting the right joke with the right place. I'm not really a comic. I'm a joke teller, and I've been collecting jokes. I was telling the Aristocrats for 20 years before they made that movie.
Okay.
Give
me a joke. Give me an old one. I mean, you go through this every day of your life. Your name's the Joke Man.
A girl goes to the gynecologist and she says, I'm freaking out. I keep finding postage stamps from Costa Rica in my vagina. And he examines me. He says, lady, those aren't postage stamps. Those are the stickers from bananas. Now that's
a good one.
That's what I do.
That was a real laugh. That was not like the chuckleheads I paid on the radio show to laugh at everything. That was real.
Hey, I'll give you a clean joke to tell your kids.
Okay. That one I can't tell my daughters. Yeah.
Two blondes are out to lunch, and the first blonde says, second blonde, you got something on your cheek. Another blonde goes like this. She says, nah, the other side. She goes, classic.
Great.
Classic.
Hey, come in. Everybody come in. It's fine. I thought, a blonde joke. Oh man, Jackie's lost it.
It just sets the scene.
No, it was good. It was good. No. You pulled it off. I got to give you credit. I thought, oh man. Maybe. Yeah.
How do you get a fat girl in bed?
How do you get a fat girl in bed? Tell me.
Piece of cake.
You remember the old? You remember
my act? I'm not political. I don't care about anything.
Dice and I driving down Michigan Avenue. We'd see a really, fat broad, and he would roll down the window. Hey, I got candy. I got fudge. I mean, just. Did he ever do? Dice and I used to do this thing? Did he ever? Oh man, we did this all the time, and it still makes me laugh. Did you ever get to do the deal where you jump out of the car? That's the guy! And you act like you're going to be, you and a group of friends, and then you run up on the guy, and they're terrified.
I never traveled with him. I just knew him from...
no, that's not the guy. That's not the guy. And you let him walk away, and you go, no, that is the guy. And then they run. The other thing we used to do is at every store, and he had expensive taste, or his several past wives did, and we'd be at Louis Vuitton or Hermès or wherever. Hey. The camera's on. The camera's watching us.
What happened?
He'd say, "Are the cameras on?" To the people at these expensive stores. Are the cameras on? And they're like, "What? Yeah, what's your name? Jackie? Jackie, the camera's on. What time you get off? Huh? I'll give you $800 for that. I'll meet you in the back. Cash. And I mean, nobody knew what to do. Like they were terrified. I'll meet you out back. It's $1,200. I'll give you $800 cash.
That's, but that's him being famous enough that when they come in with the shotgun, he says, I'm fucking around, fooling around here,
He knew the entire movie, The Idolmaker, the whole thing. And I'm with him at Morton's in Beverly Hills, and we see Ray Sharkey or whatever the guy, I think it's Ray Sharkey, the star of Idolmaker, and he acts like he's mentally challenged. Hey, Ray! And he starts doing the movie. He knows every line from the movie The Idolmaker. Next time you talk to him, ask him. And he does the whole Idolmaker, and the guy's sitting there with his family and he keeps going. And I mean, an hour into it, I'm going, Dice, come on, man. Hey, you kids got to play. And he would not stop, and he was fearless. And I mean, it was Andy Kaufman.
He loves Overdue. I knew him since 1979. Like way. Andrew Silverstein.
Yeah, I had Dom Irera came in, and he's on the mic, and he goes, "You mean Andy Silverstein, the Jew?" And I said, "Yeah." And he went, "Oh, okay." Like that was going to shock me or something.
If people don't know that, it actually does shock somebody. It's not going to shock a DJ or a show business guy.
I love that all these. I mean, I do love that all these. The same Italians. I called all of them when the statues were being torn down by Mayor Lightfoot here, and these big tough Italians. They did two things, Jackie. They did jack and shit. And a lot of loud. I really found out that a lot of these tough Italians in Chicago were loudmouths. Now I'm Italian, okay? My wife's from Italy, okay? So whatever. But these Goomba types, the Soprano wannabe types, and I always found it funny that people are offended. Come in, bring him in. Will you bring him in? Seriously, I always found it funny that people are looking at me like, "What do I do? What do I do?" You walk through the door. Anyway, I always found it funny. Here is a Jewish kid that got beaten up and teased by these tough Italian kids in the hood in his neighborhood. He was making fun of these idiots. And there they are at Madison Square Garden. Hickory dickory dock. Yeah, my boy. And he was laughing at them. He's making fun of them. And
it's Archie Bunker. It's Archie Bunker. That, you know what I mean?
It's Fonzie. It's Travolta. It's Archie Bunker. It's all of them. And he was making fun of them. And it was an act. And we got this whole political correct bullshit because of Dice. And it was an act. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're preaching to the choir. I knew that going in,
I got. Let's do one more thing, and then I want you to mention your live gig. I'm going to be, by the way, I'm going to be in Atlantic City hosting Chaz Palminteri, doing his one-man show, The Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm also going to be at a few Misfits show in Jersey. Are you near any of those?
No, Misfits, is that Chuli?
No, it's what? It's the Glenn Danzig Jerry Only band.
No, I don't know who that is.
You know the Misfits, brother. Put up the logo, Ralph. We'll show them the logo. You're gonna, who they are. Anyway, are you in that area? Are you in New York?
I'm on the North Shore of Long Island, but I drive to Boston. I drive upstate. I drive to Pennsylvania. I drive to Washington. I still do gigs.
Can you get me into Rayo's?
My buddy that used to take me to Rayo's moved to.
Everybody's. You used to get me into Rayo's?
Trump. Oh, stop.
Oh, no, I'm serious. Trump and I went to see Duran Duran together. And I had dinner with his family probably a year ago. And everybody. I like him. And everybody's talking about politics. And I walked over to the table. I said, I want to talk to you about something. And the boys are there and they went, oh, shit. You can imagine. All they get to talk about all day is their dad. And I said, I remember when we went to see Duran Duran, the Red Carpet Massacre. And they go, Mancow! And it was so great to not talk about politics.
Of course.
And Jim Caviezel was there, the guy that played Jesus. And John Schneider, who just lost his wife from Dukes of Hazzard, was at that dinner. And Roger Stone. I bet you're a big Roger Stone fan.
Oh, yeah. Me and Roger, we went to school together.
What?
No. Okay. Fucking asshole. Okay. But I did love Rayo's, and who was it? Harry the Vest? What's his name? Charlie the Vest. It's same bartender.
Yeah, Harry the Hat. No, I don't know. I bought their CD. I've been there several times.
Fun
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, man.
Fun stuff.
Rayo's, for people that don't know, it was the hardest restaurant in the world to get into. And a lot of mob families had a table. So, Tuesday night would be Jackie night. Jackie's got the restaurant tonight.
And it's tiny,
And if you didn't know Jackie, you couldn't get in. And it was his, you own a table. And recently, not that long ago, within the last 10 years, someone was shot over a song on the jukebox, right? Shot and killed over the jukebox.
I don't know about that, but 20 years ago, I knew there was this girl. She was a friar, the Friars Club, member of the Friars Club.
Sure, God,
and she was singing. She just, for the hell of it, she was walking around from table to table for no reason, singing. And the owner, Ray.
Well, there was Pellegrino. There was one guy named Pellegrino, I remember. Frank, wasn't it Frank Pellegrino?
Yeah, Frank Pellegrino was at his front table. It was just, there was a table for two right by the door. And Frank was there with a friend. And this girl was singing. And there was two guys at the bar. And one guy said to her, "Shut the fuck up." And the other guy said, "Leave her alone." And so she shut up for a while. And then she started singing again. And the guy said to him, "I said, shut the fuck up." The other guy shot him, missed him, and hit Frank Pellegrino's guest in the leg. He's got a friend there to at his restaurant. The guy got shot in the leg. It was a big story, like in 1995 or something like that.
Wow.
Front cover of the Post, big.
And that was the restaurant that Trump used to get me into.
Oh,
I went with Steve Sciarippa from The Sopranos, and he went like this. He was doing a cookbook, and he took a picture of the there's my kids. Took a picture of the meatball for whatever reason. And I mean, it was a crowd of people around him, and let's have the phone. And they went through the phones, deleted it, and then deleted, went into the delete file. And I said, "What was that all about?" And he goes, it's I guess Gumad night or whatever. It was girlfriend night.
Right, long story. Steve Sciarippa, when I used to work at the Riviera, I used to sell out the top of the Riv at the height of whatever, our fame, my fame, his fame, or whatever. And Steve Sciarippa was the entertainment director at the Riviera. Oh. And he'd bring me out there 2 or 3 times a year, and I'd sell out, and he'd give me the Frank Sinatra suite. Or, a couple times I had the actual suite where Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone that's the suite that they stayed in Casino. Yeah.
Okay, Jackie, I want to wrap it up.
Have I been boring you?
No, not at all. No. I mean, come on. We've been going for a while here. Tell me, I was never asked to be on the show. I never had any writers. I always thought one-on-one I could have ripped your old boss apart. We're talking about, I don't want to say his name, but I always felt like one-on-one, there's no way he could hold a candle to me. I saw him once at, I don't know, whatever that show, America's Got Talent. I was friends with the Spice Girl that was on there, and she invited me by, and he saw me and was straightening his hair and saw it was me and turned around and fled. How do you think I would have done on the show? And do you think had I met him and not been Mancow, he would be a guy I would like? Because I really hate him, and I've been offered to do things since then and be on his channel and everything, and I won't do it. So
that's like, are you going to meet Bozo with his nose and his hair and his shoes, or are you going to meet Bozo on the street? I'm not calling him a Bozo. I'm just saying
that's a stupid question.
it's an act.
It's an act. Did you like him?
Yeah, we were pals. There's a documentary coming out on me called Joke Man, and it's going to be released July 18th. And, it's going to be streamed and everything. And I'm still friends with everybody I ever met in my life. Yeah, but my documentary, the only people that aren't in the documentary are the 4 people that I spent all that time with for 18 years. There's no Howard, there's no Robin, there's no Fred, there's no Gary.
Why?
It's not my document. That's not how he plays, The old, you're dead to me, which
wow.
I mean, he never said so many words, but and it's just ludicrous, because
Jackie,
it's business,
Do you understand? I mean, I used to think the Beatles owe it to us to get back together or whatever, and I understand how you develop a hatred. I will say, being in a room with people for 8 hours a day, because we were recording stuff when we weren't on, and we were together, in a closet, essentially with microphones and busting each other's balls. Well, eventually, I'm still very close with many of them, but there's a few of them that I'd be okay to hear about them having a heart attack.
No, we never got to that. When I left, it had nothing to do with animosity or ego. It was like I asked my boss for $100, and he said, "We'll give you $40," and then we didn't negotiate. I asked for more money than they thought it was worth paying me to keep me there. It was that simple. Yeah. People don't want to hear that it's that simple, so they've got to have much more to it.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, don't you understand though how hatred could develop in that environment?
Geez, me and my partner played music together. We went out and we spent 6 months in Albuquerque up in the mountains. Yeah. And when we left, we drove from Albuquerque to Long Island without speaking a word. It just bubbles up and it happens, and all of a sudden that wall goes up. Of course, I totally understand that.
Todd Causley. I shared a room with a dear friend of me, still a friend of mine, and we went to New Orleans, and he has a CPAP machine, and he got drunk, and he's laying there in the middle of the room with his CPAP Darth Vader machine on, this slob naked, and there's puke, and he shit all over the I mean, literally shit all over the bathroom, and I'm Felix Unger, man. I'm the clean guy, and I just, oh my God, you fucking pig, and I can't ever be around that again. I can hang out with him, I can't ever share a room with him, and
you don't need a rerun.
No, there was a guy on my show. I don't know if he was an important guy on my show, part of my show, but I'm the day of my marriage. He sees my wife and goes, "Hey, get in the car. Mancow wants to see you." And don't marry him. I'm in love with you. Like, how do you like that guy?
No, and
piece of shit. So
there are stories. There are so many more stories like
I caught guys stealing from me.
Like stuff that you would never ever. Recently I've been ripped off. I'm 75. I've been there and back. I've seen the good. I've seen the bad, and it's all fun.
Look, I didn't think you were 75.
Now you flirt. I was in the green room for the other show. Watching you with the other guy, and I kept switching the channels. I thought I was watching the fucking dating game. That was
now that's just rude. That's God getting back at you. Now you're coughing.
No, I've been sick for a month.
Did you have? I'm going to get off, but we'll start the show. We haven't really started the show. This is the preliminary interview.
Well, that's what I
thought. Did you go through the COVID?
No, never had it.
I had it twice.
Knock on wood.
I had it twice. Yeah. All right, give us one more. Give us one more joke.
I want to say two things,
and then we'll start the show. Say whatever you want. Oh, when is your gig in June?
I don't know what I got that's coming that's close to you. When is this airing? In a couple months? In August, I got a week in Boston with Lenny Clark and Steve Sweeney and Christine Hurley, which is the highlight of the year.
I love Clark.
Clark is just
school. That's
just wonderful.
That's old school funny. Yeah.
And I got billions of jokes on TikTok, which is so ridiculous, but it's so funny because you can't put dirty jokes on TikTok, but they don't know how to censor you. I got censored. They don't censor you. They don't delete your jokes. They mute it. And I got a joke muted because I used the word dildo, and I got muted because I used the word masturbate. And I said, there's not going to be anything I can get on here. But then I just danced around it so the Chinese computers couldn't find it. And I told the filthiest joke in the world, and it sailed right by. The girl says, I need to buy a dozen condoms. And the sales clerk says, oh, you don't want to have any kids? And she says, no, my boyfriend doesn't want to get any poop on his rocket. Okay. So and that flew right past him. If I say,
do something with that, Ralph. Do something. I don't know.
I didn't know how constrained.
I don't know either, but just in case. Just in case. Okay. Can you give us one more? One more. I want to end on something good. That wasn't a good one.
So a lady goes to the pharmacy and says to the pharmacist, I need to buy some cyanide to kill my husband. He says, lady, I can't sell you cyanide to kill your husband. You'll go to jail. I'll go to jail. You're crazy. She reaches her purse, takes out a picture, and hands it to the pharmacist. It's a picture of her husband banging the pharmacist's wife. And he says, You didn't tell me you had a prescription.
Start the show. Start the show. Let's do it. Let's start the show. Jackie the Joke Man appearing in a city near you maybe soon. All right. Start the show. Let's do it. No, that was just a bonus. This is the line. This is where the angels and the devils fight. They're choosing upsides tonight. Me and part man, part monkey, part mystery. And the angels and the devils are playing tug of war with my personality. Detroit has okayed animal sacrifice. I think it's for Islamic types. Animal sacrifice for religious reasons. That is, I don't care what religion. That is diabolical, killing animals for religious purposes. Wow. We had the ultimate lamb, and you may remember a few weeks ago why we celebrated Easter. No need to sacrifice. Well, maybe it's some kind of demonic thing or something. I don't know what religion it is that still believes in sacrificing animals. Where are the animal rights people on this? Where are the feminists at these swim meets? Where is anybody? Saw Depeche Mode a few weeks ago, demonic. I don't know if I talked about that. I walked out of the Devil's Exorcist, or the Devil's Exorcist, the Pope's Exorcist movie with Russell Crowe. By the way, Russell Crowe is great in it. I knew Father Gabriel Marth, who he plays, and he nails it. This guy had a sense of humor. There was a didactic minister that told me of sinister things that would happen if I didn't do, the right things, if I didn't know the difference between wrong and right. But I think I did him when I started to kid him. When I said, I think there's a difference between the dark and the light. When I made jokes to these priests and these preachers when I studied to be a clergyman, they had no sense of humor. And I can't be around people that have no sense of humor. I think Jesus, when he was on earth, I think he would have to talk. He never talked to a Christian, Jesus. Did you know that? And I bet he had a sense of humor. The Passion of the Christ was the first time I saw. I need you to close the door. That's what that means. Close that door. Hey, guys, I'm still on. I know it went a little long with Jackie, but I was having fun. I hope you were too. But and stupid people don't have a sense of humor. When you see the people jumping up and down on cars and doing that kind of stuff, I don't know if we can show you that video, but they don't have a sense of humor. Really dumb people don't have a sense of humor. You'll find that out in life if you don't know it. It's okay. Taking away our gas stoves, I think it's deranged, isn't it? Deranged, get it? Thank you. See, did you laugh at that? You're okay then. I did a show with fans a few weeks ago. People ask if I'll ever do that again. It was a lot of pressure having people in my house, strangers in my house. I cooked for them, really put a lot of work into this meal, planned it for several days, and brought back some things from Japan. And one guy didn't, I don't think he had one bite of anything, which, okay, whatever. Oh, I didn't know I was going to be fed. Well, yeah, you're not going to come to Muller Manor, my palatial place, and I'm not going to feed you. What? Are you kidding? Anyway, it was fun. It was fine. But memories are, they bring treasures, but they also bring torment. They brought up a lot of things that I've forgotten, and some of these things I'd forgotten for a reason. But it was nice to have a contest. It was nice to have people that wanted to walk down memory lane with me, and that was fine. Are you familiar with this book? Are you familiar with this book?
Yeah.
The Franklin cover-up.
Yeah.
I think some of it's been debunked, but it has a lot to do with pedophilia and Satanism. And if you're curious, the connections, some of them are in here. Why has nobody from Epstein's list been prosecuted? Why is it nobody that was, some say, killing? But why has nobody been arrested? Did you see Sandra Bullock? And they're talking about how they use children for different things. Did you see the video of Sandra Bullock on Ellen DeGeneres, the Ellen DeGeneres show? Did you see it? Did you see it?
I did.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
And they talk about how in Hollywood they have 1 million needles that pulverize their skin, and then they use children's skin. And you look much younger, but for a day your face is a bloody mess. Now, you can find this video. And and this is the kind of thing where I will say this, and will I get in trouble? I don't know. I don't even know if I can talk about this. So they're talking about pulverizing their face and then using children's skin. And then you go, and you're probably going there right now with me, where does your head go right now? Where's your mind go? Where do they get the children's skin? And then Ellen senses this. You can see it for yourself. And she says, well, they get it from circumcisions. Think how big Sandra Bullock's head is. And then think about how much skin comes off. You're going to tell me the title of it? Show me the title of it. It may have been pulled from the internet, but how much skin does it doesn't add up for me. I'd like to hear your thoughts, and get a hold of me on Instagram. Look for The Real Me on Instagram. They are doing everything they can to keep you from finding me. Please follow and like and all that happy horse shit. And I think that's a lot of, and I again, certain things I can say that I know will make me disappear. So I have to be very careful. I want to live. And if anything happens to me, I'm not suicidal. And people say that, but nothing ever happens. So they kill me, whoever. And you say, he said he wasn't suicidal, but nothing ever happens. So I'm saying it, but who cares? How many people have we lost that have said, I'm telling you this, but I'm not suicidal? So there's a lot more to it. But I invite you to look at Sandra Bullock on Ellen. Can you just show me how it's labeled so people can find it? Okay. This is great.
It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes.
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra? Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
She doesn't want to say.
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract its
Skin from a Korean baby.
And they're all laughing. Do you think there's enough foreskin on Korean babies to? I want to hear your thoughts. I don't know. These are the things you should be warned about in church. I was at a church, I don't want to say the name, and the guy said, I know people are stressed, and this is how God can comfort you, and you are yoked to Christ, and you should be calm. And I went up afterwards to say, finally something that relates, that's not in a bubble, that's actually talking about, I can't tell you how many people I have taken to church. One of them standing here. They've got a small crowd here today and tonight. And, they talk about how they need a new building. Well, how does that help that guy? How does that help a lost soul who's going to burn in hell? Seriously, you're probably going to burn in hell. But I hope not. I'm kidding. But I always got to hear about churches and their buildings and their building fund. And they need this money. And I just went up to this guy, and I'm telling you, it was like talking to a statue. Oh, yeah? Uh-huh. And I think it's because I have exposed other types of flim-flam men that this guy, and I've heard certain things about this individual as well, and I think they don't really want Mancow that might come here and talk to you. Mm-hmm. And it was an obvious chill. I don't like the plastic preachers of today. The preachers of plasticine with their skinny jeans and their fog machines, ignoring the obscene and telling you everything is peachy keen. I want to quote Bukowski from last week that we quoted. I love that. Mickey Mouse is a soulless three-fingered, and boy, the House of Mouse, get it away from your kids. Yeah. 1 in 20 can do 1 in 20 African-American kids, 1 in 20 in Chicago can do their grade level. 1 in 20 can read at their grade level, do their math, and then you see the madness that's going on in Chicago. This is what happens when you hire a communist. Is there any slides you want to put up? Anything we want to put up here? I know this has been a long show. If any of you have stayed with me, I appreciate it. I don't know, man. I know I believe in spaying and neutering cats and dogs, but maybe it's time for not kids. I don't believe we should chemically castrate children. Any slides we want to put up? I know we have slides. Yeah, that nut. Why are they upset over Bud? Why do they care about Bud? Nobody likes Bud. Yeah, Bud Light isn't a great beer. I don't drink Bud Light, but I'm from Missouri and it meant something. And that's why people got upset. And we're sick of this being pushed on us all the time. And what a horrible role model. The Bud Light can. You've seen the Bud Light can now. And I just want to tell you that dress-up individual who's in his 30s, or she's in her 30s, or whatever I'm supposed to say, uses tampons anally for a week a month to feel more like a girl. I mean, it is so, I talked about it on the last episode. I mean, this is your role model? Really? Yeah. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed Jackie the Joke Man. I had lots of people that were past enemies, and you meet them and they're okay. And he was in a situation he didn't want to be in. He liked me and didn't like what Coward had put him into, the situation Coward had put him into to be an ogre, which he didn't want to be. And deep down, I think he's a decent guy, Jackie the Joke Man. I appreciate him coming on. But we talked 20 years ago. We talked 25 years ago, and he let it be known that he didn't want any part of that wickedness. And you have to appreciate a guy that's making that kind of money, but this ain't me. So I've always thought he was classy. He says, I don't know if we've ever talked before. Oh, yeah, we talked. We talked in the mid-'90s, and I appreciated him being a human, being a decent human being. So how's communism working out for us so far? You like it? You like this economy? You like your gas prices? I could handle a few mean tweets and $1.50 gas. I remember those days. You know, I know Brandon Johnson, the new mayor of Chicago, is fantastic. And the city's on fire and the kids are out of control and they just need programs. I know everything's great, but me, I'm kind of addicted to things that I used to have in our old system. Things like toilet paper, electricity, and cars that run on gasoline that they actually can't shut off. You know, I liked walking around without a tracking device. That was me. I liked air conditioning. You know, they want to be able to shut off your air conditioning if you're using too much power. Yeah. I like the ability to fight off the same thugs that are burning cop cars. I like the ability to shoot back. I don't want to give up my protection. Yeah, I like that ability to be able to protect my home. I'm just so old-fashioned, I guess. I'm just thinking, I just wrote down some of the things. Oil was going to be gone within 10 years. Do you remember that? Do you remember another ice age was coming in 10 years? We were told that. That was the cover of major newspapers. This was in the late 70s. In the 80s, we were told acid rain was going to kill us all. Do you remember acid rain? How about the 90s? We were told the ozone layer wouldn't last 5 or 10 years. By the way, all these things, all of them led to higher taxes. They were all for that purpose. Remember the ice caps were going to melt? Remember that in 2000? We had 10 years. Remember the polar bears? California has no water. And it rains and rains. You've seen the flooding. Where does it go? I've said this before. It all goes to the ocean. Now, it reminds you of Terminator 2 and those great cement valleys that are all over LA. And they fill with water. And where do they go? Do they go to a lake? No. They go out to the ocean because environmentalists won't let them collect the water. Why? And they have mudslides and all these problems. And they have forest fires because you can't cut down any trees, which is what you need to do to thin it so that there's not forest fires. And all these things they let happen on purpose. Why? So they can control you. No, you can't water your yard. No, you can't have a drink of water. No, you can't have AC. No, you can't have a car that runs on gas. Why? Because when they want to, and you've got one of their cars, boop, there you sit. It's all about control. Why do they want your gun? You see what's going on TV. You see these thugs. You see these assholes, what they're doing. You need protection. You need to fight back. Why would they want to take that from you? Because they don't give a shit about you. They want control. This is your wake-up call. As my mom always used to say, shut up.